Reading a book won't make you rich. It's the ideas that you get from it. It's very difficult to not actually get results and become wealthy from if you do that. You acclimatise to the wealth that you've got. How many people do you know, if I was a millionaire, I would spend? That's the mentality of someone who hasn't acclimatised to wealth.
There's no point always trying to make more money if you haven't mastered how to manage what you've got.
You'll have a load of stuff that will cost you money to maintain, but
Yes.
you won't be able to afford to maintain it. Then you'll have a breakdown.
What's going on in the heads of these people that are striving for multi-millions, multi-billions, trillions, but potentially at the cost of society and the planet?
All these people promoting how to build things on Claude and do this, that and the other, and people are looking at them thinking, I need to do that. Now they're on this train of trying to learn Claude to build some product, to sell to someone, to automate and make money. It's nothing they're interested in whatsoever. They've got no chance of succeeding doing that.
I know that you've met Richard Branson. Have you ever met Elon Musk? And what's going on in the heads of these people that are striving for multi-millions, multi-billions, trillions, but potentially at the cost of society and the planet?
I haven't met Elon Musk. I've seen him speak on various podcasts, like, vulnerable podcasts like Joe Rogan, where he actually opens up. And you kind of get a glimpse of what's going through their head. He says most people wouldn't want to be me. He says I sleep alone a lot of the time. I don't have to, but I do. It's difficult understanding me. It must be really difficult for someone like that who's got such a long time horizon in terms of how his vision.
Yes.
To really feel like anyone can understand you because you can't connect on a level where you're thinking that far ahead. Most people can't think day to day. Most people don't know what they're doing at the weekend, let alone what's going to happen to Earth in 1,000 years.
Or 5-year goals. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. So I think that's one part of it. When you can, I think it's good to be able to think big, and what that allows you to do is to be really, really focused on a greater goal, which then doesn't swing you around day to day. Because you're not chasing this and then changing your strategy and then going off and doing the next trend and all this kind of stuff. You're basically
anchored.
Yeah, you're anchored. It's a bit like, I kind of see it as like you're in a combine harvester and you're going across a field and you're just looking at the other end. So you go straight line. Yeah. Whereas if you look at the floor, you're going to go all over the place. I think he's tied his self-worth behind why he's doing what he's doing. Maybe that does come from childhood. But people like Richard Branson, I think he's after solving big problems, but I just think there's a massive difference in both of those guys. I look at Elon Musk and I feel a solemnness. There's a sadness.
That's just what I was going to say to you.
I
watched the
sad.
documentary.
Yeah, when I watch him, I feel, it's like this solemn feel.
Yeah, no, I felt sad for him.
Yeah.
For all the money.
Yeah.
And like the kids, but he's not with the first wife. And it feels like, I just felt like he was someone I wanted to give a hug to.
Yeah. It's like he's a slave to his own mission.
And mine.
That is something that he's like, I have to do this, whereas Richard Branson, he gets behind things that he feels are unjust. Yeah. He might shed a tear about a problem in the world and then go, do you know what, I'm going to do one over on those people that are not doing that right, and I'm going to do it better. And he just brings a lot of love and joy to that whole movement, whereas Elon doesn't. And I don't think many billionaires, other than Richard Branson, to be honest, have got that. But Richard Branson seems to have got it right, because he's got the friends, the family, the fitness, the health, the island. He's just got it all, and he seems to just love life. Whereas you look at Elon Musk, he clearly doesn't love life.
No.
So yeah, the two very, very different characters, both inspiring, but I certainly would look up to Richard Branson more than I would look up to Elon Musk.
And so, because I like doing the dissection without the knife and fork thing, is it an age thing? So Richard's older, he's been in the game longer, and Elon's younger, and not just those two, but generally, is it the English versus the American culture and the upbringing that they had? Is it the family? Is it, I don't know, how they're theoretically in one group, as in very, very, very rich, very successful people. but their experience of it is completely different. And it feels like their objectives are very different. And I don't mean just that Elon wants a rocket to go to another planet type of thing. It feels like what's driving them is different.
I think everything comes from like childhood. I think whatever you perceive to be missing most as a kid becomes your highest value, and you then become you tie your self-worth to that thing. I think there's some similarities in terms of they both want the best for humans. Like they're kind of both solving a problem for humans. Elon Musk, albeit thinking interplanetary, at the neglect of basically focusing on let's make this planet better, but then he's also doing solar power and solar energy, and
maybe that's his yin and his yang.
Yeah, right. So mankind, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, more about living for today and having a great experience doing that thing that you love doing. That's how I see it. So if you're going to go on a plane, have a great experience on a plane. It's only A to B, but who cares? Have a lovely time.
Yes.
Same as the voyages and whatever it is he's doing. It's not really to solve a massive problem going forward for humankind. It's about experiences and in the moment things. That's how Richard Branson lives or solves problems. So. Yeah, Richard Branson came from a very kind of humble upbringings. I don't know too much about Elon Musk, but I know that he went to a university. He was surrounded by a lot of very, very academic, smart people. They started PayPal, and then a lot of the PayPal guys went into YouTube and Amazon and all the rest of it. So interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think the key though is to know when enough is enough. Otherwise, you sacrifice your happiness. And I think I think Elon Musk has accepted that there'll never be enough because he won't even live to see his legacy play out.
Yep.
Whereas Richard Branson
has enough.
Yeah, he has enough.
And I think he appreciates he has enough, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he selects very carefully the projects that he works on that are really close to his heart, but he likes to see the impact of that and the benefit of that to give him even more happiness and joy. So, yeah. 2 different time horizons on the outcome and the fulfillment that they're getting from their mission,
and lessons to be learned from both. And I wanted this to be relevant to people who are watching this, so that you can go, well, okay, so what can I learn from these people? What can I learn? When I look at a lot of very rich people, I go, but your marriage hasn't lasted. All right. I'm on my second as well, but that was nothing to do with getting very rich and more to do with the wrong choice in the first place. But so it's not judging, but it's saying, okay, so your marriage didn't last and you're not connected with your children. And I've just recently, we've just been watching a collection of things. So we watched the series on Elon Musk's story. We watched the series. I just dipped into some Rich House, Poor House. Don't judge me. I don't normally watch this sort of TV. But there were 2 people on there that I knew. One that I, through social media, decided I didn't like.
Yeah.
And the other,
I think I know who you're talking about.
And the other one that I knew through, and you probably know through back in the old days, maybe KPI. And I did know him and I like, them, sorry, and I like them. And so I had a little look at these 2 and the stories and what they did for the people that were with them and how they presented themselves. And then also went into the experiences that let's call them the poor house people had when they were in the rich house.
Right.
And I know a lot of it is TV and a lot of it is editing, but they basically were given £2,000 each. They both came into the programme having somewhere between £9,000 and £12,000 worth of debt. Mm-hmm. Now, I think if I came into a programme, I understand that the programme makers are going to want to make the programme out of me because that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
But out of that 2,000, there were so many things that they could have done with that money that would have improved their lives.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the things that I've maybe seen you say, which is there's no point always trying to make more money if you haven't mastered how to manage what you've got, which is why, if you came to me about property investing, the first thing we would do is clarity, why you want to get into property investing. And the second thing I'd ask you to do is, Do you know how much money you need on a monthly basis to pay your expenses? So we're looking to get to that enough amount. How do you manage your money? What debt are you already in? And let's deal with that before effectively through property you're taking on more debt to invest in property. Because if you can't manage your personal debt, I'm not going to help you get more debt, because who's to say that you can, manage that properly and make this work? Yeah. And I don't want to be part of that. And so looking at what they did, it was just fascinating again. So I wanted to go high with those two because it's an interesting conversation. But then looking at just how other people do it. So one offered the poor people jobs.
Right.
So they had come into the program saying that they wanted to get into property, but they were given jobs at the other end of it, so that the richer person now got 2 employees. Yes, they were paying them a wage. Yes, they're going to be in the circle and they might learn through, but they haven't really enabled their dream.
No.
Whereas the other person was given venture funding to actually start the business.
Yeah.
And will get the mentoring to support the business.
Right.
And it's just, again, this mentality, isn't it? What are you doing for people, for mankind, for society along the way to creating, as I talk about, a wealthy life. I want a wealthy life, but what do I want to do and leave as my legacy? And it's not going to be a rocket ship or a hole in the ground where multimillionaires can go. But I hope that I'm not going to leave waste. So I'm going to recycle everything.
Yeah,
I hope that I'm not going to be a huge drain on society. So I'm never going to be the one that causes a glut in or a shortage of tomatoes, because I'm going to grow them all,
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to...
a burden.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I absolutely... And that also is the reason why I went into property. Because what I realised quite early on is that because my career as a university lecturer had been through what we call visiting lecturer contracts. So every year I got a new contract, even though I was in the charge of modules on a course and everything. I didn't get tenure because I wasn't Professor Vicki. And so for a long while, I wanted to be Professor Vicki because I wanted to be validated. I wanted to have a contract, and that was the only way to get one. And I had to write and publish papers. And ironically, on the day that my first piece was about to be published as an academic, the night before, I used to go cycling and I fell and I broke my arm, shot the bone out the side, and had to obviously miss the train the next morning and never got to go to Leeds to present. And it was like a sliding door moment. And then I went, I'm never going to get this thing I'm chasing for, tenure. And I will be stuck forever in the academic world. But I don't have a pension. They're not taking care of me now. They don't value me now. I don't know if they're going to value me anymore when I'm an employee. Then I'll be handcuffed to them. But I don't have a pension. I've done all of this work, 11 years of being a university lecturer, and I've got nothing for myself and my children going forward.
Right.
I'm going to be this burden. I won't have the money to provide for a carer for myself if I need them. So I'm either going to be a burden on the state or my kids. I won't have a pension. I'm going to have to rely on the government pension. And that's never going to be enough if I ever live chasing this dream of they keep moving the age out the way, So I've got to do something about it. And I looked at the maths, and the maths to me, and I know your maths is way beyond my maths. I love my maths, but you're like in another level of maths. But my maths went, if I can take my 100 and chop it up into 4 and make those 4 deposits for 4 houses, that's better than 1. Good. And as long as I'm going to make a money on the mortgage, the rent minus the mortgage, then I'll make cash flow on a monthly basis, which is going to be a little bit like a wage. And then I'm going to have the eventual capital growth because we live on an island. And I had my little plan, and that's what I went off into. Right. Because I didn't want to be a burden on society. I maybe didn't have the word of the legacy that I wanted to leave, but I didn't want to, for my existence, there to have been a hole when I went.
But you then went off in a journey to learn how to do the stuff. You had a plan, and I think that's the key. So going back to Elon Musk, they think longer term, but they have a plan. So they have a plan, and then they're on this continuous loop of self-development, self-discovery. And I said yesterday when I was reviewing, someone said, what's your top 5 investing books? And I said, look, reading won't make you rich. Reading a book won't make you rich. It's the ideas that you get from it, the self-awareness that you get from it, the different decisions that you might make as a result of reading it, and then actually taking action on the doing
implementation.
something and implementing that will make you rich. And it's very difficult to not actually get results and become wealthy from if you do that stuff. The interesting thing about what you said about rich house, poor house is like, you can give someone a load of money, but actually people become wealthy from it's a gradual process of having a plan, having a moment where they go, do you know what? I need to figure out what I want in my life. And then that looks like this, and then applying logic to it, and then going, right, I need to take some actions and learn some things. And then you slowly get a bit more and more and more, right? So you acclimatise to the wealth that you've got. So the person who's got the money has got the money because they've acclimatized to it, and they can handle it and they can manage it, and they're mentally stable with it. How many people do you know, if I was a millionaire, I would X, insert spend, right?
Yes.
Right? And it's like, so what? You just get the million and spend it all until you're not a millionaire. Because that's the mentality of someone who hasn't acclimatized to wealth. In fact, in Tibet, they redistributed there was so much inequality in wealth that they took all of the money and redistributed evenly across everyone in Tibet, and within 10 months or something, it all ended up in the minorities' hands again, because they know how to do it, they know how to serve, and they've got this value on building wealth as opposed to value on spending the money. And basically, the people who value spending it give it to all the people that want to provide value and service and all the rest of it.
And that brings us into the political conversation. But I mean, I think the key word that you used there was logic, not emotion.
Yeah.
And if you listen to, because we often listen to Heart Radio in the house, and they're endlessly doing these competitions. We're going to give you 300,000, 400,000, 500. Now it's going to be a millionaire. And when you listen to what they're saying, God, can you imagine?
What could you buy?
What could you buy? Think of the holidays that you could have. And they are literally feeding in to the mind of the pre-winner what the pre-winner needs to be doing.
To give it back to people who provide service.
In the first place. Yeah, exactly. And then you're also then saying to these people, you're going to have all of this money, you're going to spend all of this money, and then you're not going to have all this. And this is why they
Or you'll have a load of stuff that will cost you money to maintain, but you won't be able to afford to maintain it. Then you'll have a breakdown.
Yes. And this is why they say lottery winners, they lose all their money so quickly, because there's not the logic, there's the emotional attachment to it. Just
to kind of get a context around like how people who value wealth and freedom think, as opposed to people who value spending money. A person who's got £1 million who values free time and choice would happily invest £1 million for a £50,000 a year income, as opposed to having £1 million sat in the bank and just spending it on things. For, maybe if you've never had any money, I would say your lifestyle will cost a lot more than 100 grand a year. Maybe you'll be spending close to 200 grand a year, which means you've got 5 years of spending money before it runs out. Whereas the millionaire who got the million and invested it at 60 grand a year income, which is very realistic, by the way, that's very conservative. You've got 60 grand a year coming in, and you don't have to do anything. No. You can have a very comfortable life, and that's the different value point.
But you can still choose. I mean, don't forget, you've got all of that time. There's nothing stopping you, and this is one of the things that I said in the wealthy retirement. We think that retirement is, you get to an age. All right, now we're going to 67. You get to an age, and at that age, you have to stop. You don't have to stop. You're still young and fit, and hopefully you've still got all your faculties.
Yeah.
You can just now change how you spend your time. You could choose to do charity work. You could choose to take the knowledge you've got and give back into your community. Or you could choose to do the job or the business that you had, but 3 days a week or whatever else. There's so many things that you could do with your time.
Yeah.
That if you think about how your life is, nothing about us needs to be the way that we're told it has to be. No. We have choice. That's the difference between us and all the other species on the planet. We have choice.
We're always free. That's what this means.
Yes.
That's what this means.
Well, we are, until we listen to people who plant ideas.
We're not free anymore. We're not mentally free. So I think knowing who you are is like the key. Knowing who you are, first of all. And I think there's a massive misconception about wanting to retire, because we only get fulfillment from helping other people. Like, you get fulfillment from helping people, you get fulfillment from doing your bit of recycling. That's probably fulfilling. You get fulfilling with helping animals. You know, wherever you're providing a service to someone, that is the only way that you get fulfillment. So this idea that one day you're going to have enough money to just not serve anyone is crazy, because you're going to end up depressed. You're going to end up sitting there thinking, I've got no sense of purpose whatsoever. So it's find out what you enjoy now and try and optimize the way that you make money in that direction, rather than trying to chase this day where you're going to have a payoff and become, you don't have to work, but then you're going to figure out you want to.
Yes.
You know, and it's a difficult predicament to be in. So
I remember years back was speaking to somebody, and I said, "Oh, where have you been?" And he went, "Well, you know, I was doing this, that, and the other in property." And I went, yeah, that's right, I remember, but I haven't seen you for years. And he went, "Yeah, I retired." "Oh, okay. What did you do?" "We had loads of holidays." "So what are you doing back here at this?" He said, "I got bored."
Yeah.
I had 4 years of holidays and I was bored.
Yeah.
And I can fully appreciate, I mean, I love my holidays, but unless we're on the holidays learning things and doing things, there's only so long. Even if you've got a pile of good books that you can sit on a beach and just, you know, occasionally get in the water, have a swim, and then you're looking at, read it. Bored, haven't spoken to anybody in ages.
Yeah.
It's the mental stimulation. And I still feel there's a bit about social media here sucking this out of us somehow. And I don't know if it's a giant conspiracy. I'd love to have the whole, is it a giant conspiracy that there are the people out there, have they deliberately created, for example, did I forgot, Zuckerberg deliberately create, and I don't think he saw that far ahead, Facebook, with a view that what he could do is not only make a lot of money out of it, but he could then start to control the masses, control the way people think, and that would put him in a huge position of power. Because
I don't think that was deliberate.
No,
I have to
but
say.
it is. No, I don't think it was deliberate either. Because I think he was
just a kid at school.
Yeah, exactly.
He made some money and then realised, actually, we've got shareholders now who want a return on their money. Now we have to figure out how to manipulate people's decisions to watch ads. You know, that's basically it.
Yes, that's what I was going to say to you. And I think you're absolutely right. The decision wasn't there as a kid, because also he was that, you know, not breaking a ceiling, but I don't know what he was doing. He was breaking something by doing Facebook.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the first.
Yeah.
And then in having created what is a beast. And that's another thing about us, isn't it? That so many of the businesses that we now use, whether it's Amazon or Costa we were talking about earlier, or even your Tesco's or your petrol company, because they are the corporates, it's not us, the customer. Like in my business, my customers matter. And we were on a course together the other week. I was your customer. Yeah. I felt that I mattered. My success in your course mattered to you. I'm pretty sure I was right. You know, so our customers matter to us. I'm faceless to Costa, to BP, to everybody else. The people that matter to them are their boards and their shareholders. And their shareholders in the large part are probably faceless as well. But they have votes, and that shapes things, that shapes who's on the board and who's in power. And the only way to feed the monster, to keep your power and be on the board and be in charge and have control of the thing that you created, is to actually be in a position where they make money out of it.
Yeah.
And they make money at the behest or at the cost of the clients or society.
It becomes about ROI. So it becomes less about, you know, the lovely, delightful little things that the customer might love about the business,
or even
have
the
to
corporate
get wiped
mission.
off if it's just, it's nice, but you know, it doesn't actually bottom line. So, and I was talking about this at Amplify, where I said about, you know, Rory Sutherland. He said, you know, get rid of the doorman on the hotel, and you got a pat on the back for saving a load of money for putting an automatic door in, but you don't factor in the loss as a result of not having the doorman, like the homeless person sleeping in the doorway, or, you know, the repeat customers where the doorman just go, oh yeah, I remember what you liked, here's the thing, or, you know, get in your coat or whatever. So I think that's happening a lot. I think, especially with AI, where everyone's getting a pat on the back for saving money with AI. But how much are you losing in the long run because you haven't got real people and real customer service, you know? And that's not being factored into it. And I think that's people will find that out, and it will go back the other way a little bit.
We've started going to the Octopus Energy Tech Summit.
Right.
So we went for the first time last year in Battersea, and we're going to go again this year. And listening to their ads, they say you'll be answered by a real human who wants to solve your problems. And I think that we've got an opportunity here where there is the threat of AI. And now, don't get me wrong, me and Chat are good mates. I ask Chat quite a lot of questions, but I've also told Chat, don't be a sycophant. Tell me when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I want contrarian answers. I want bold answers. And I definitely don't want emojis. You know, drop all of that nonsense that you're programmed with and talk to me the way I like to be talked. I like to be challenged. And so we have much better conversations now. But this idea that it can be there, but it can be, I don't know about a mentor, but like your virtual assistant, the person that can, depends on what apps you plug into, can do all of the low cost but still important jobs in the business.
Yeah.
But the high value, this is the difference, the high value bits, the human interaction with your customer. If there is any way that an AI from any company is going to get in touch with me and try and make a sales appointment, no. If you don't want to talk to me, somebody who's going to be your customer and give you money. That's what
I said. Yeah, I think it's going to have the reverse effect. It's going to make people think you don't care.
No,
you know,
totally.
You don't care. You've actually outsourced this important conversation, or what you're saying you care about is actually an AI script. I can tell, you know, and that's making me not want to do it. You know, not want to engage with you at all. So for sure,
I think there's a whole bit here then, isn't there? And I was talking to somebody yesterday. I did a series of podcasts yesterday, and we were talking about thinking, noticing your thoughts. And I like the idea of, I think it's called meta thinking, where you think on your thoughts. So for me, when I was in education and everything, that was called reflective practice.
Yeah.
So whether you, in the old fashioned way, would write a diary, or I would sometimes, like if I'm stuck with something, in a way almost write an essay, and I would write, and I do it with pen and paper. Mostly because now it's so busy auto-correcting me. What I've typed isn't necessarily what I meant anyway. I can't understand it. Whereas at least with the pen and paper, I've got a fair chance of understanding my writing. But also I can circle things and
highlight things.
Yeah, and get back into it and get into those words and go, what was it I was thinking? I mean, we're going to do some work again afterwards. And I've got sheets and sheets of paper and crossings out and scribbles. And from that, I'm then refining my thoughts. I'm thinking about what I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, is that my thought? Is that a thought I want to have? Is that thought going to lead to the conclusion? But if you're not thinking about what you're thinking about, if you're not thinking about your goals and how you started at the beginning, how do I want to live my life? If you're not focused on that, just as the nub at the bottom, you're not even setting out in the right vehicle in the right direction. You're not even in the combine harvester in the field to get to the end of the field.
No.
You're probably not even aware that you're in a field. You're not even aware that you own a combine harvester you could get into.
Right now, especially with AI, all these people promoting how to build things on Claude and do this, that and the other, and people are looking at them thinking, I need to do that. They've got no interest in doing that. They're just thinking they've got to do that. So now they're on this train of trying to learn Claude to build some product, to sell to someone, to automate and make money, and it's nothing they're interested in whatsoever. They've got no chance of succeeding doing that.
No.
You know, they might do it and make a quid, and then they'll be sick of it.
But then how much have they spent on the, not only in time, but also in money, or not only in money, but in time on learning this? I've seen the adverts on Claude, and you know that I am such a digital muppet. I mean, you know, every time we do a course, one of the first things Jason says to me whenever he launches a bit of something is, did you sort that out, Vicki? Did you log? Yeah, no. Yeah, all right. Yes, I know. And I really don't mind that at all. It's this idea of, I saw it on social media, and I even went through, Claude. Yeah, I know that's another thing like chat. I've got a feeling it's a bit programmy. I used to do computer science. Should I go and put some time into learning Claude? And I went, hang on, have a thought about that thought. For what reason?
Yeah.
For what reason do I want to learn? Well, because I saw a Facebook ad or a social media or an Insta ad, and I thought, everybody else is doing it. Am I missing out?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not where my values lie. And I think that's the other thing, isn't it? What you value. Maybe that's also the difference. That's very definitely the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
We value time.
Yeah, time. So just sitting on things and not doing knee-jerk reactions and thinking you got to keep up with stuff. I've sat here, like, I haven't really done anything this year so far. And I sit there and I look at all of AI and I can think of a million ways that I could use it. But actually, what do I want to do with it? So it's only up until now, really, that, we just launched that tool, which complemented something genuinely that I like teaching, and I think it'll help people. There's millions of things you can create like that, but I'm not going to create them all because I'm not there just to make loads of money from. I'm not in that position. I'm in a position where I can objectively look at what I want to do. What does the next phase of my life look like? What do I enjoy teaching? What am I good at teaching? What am I inspired to teach? Is there something that can complement that I could use? If so, yes, then I'll do that, and that'll be it. I won't be doing anything unless it ticks those 3 boxes.
So let's slide into that conversation for a minute. Let's go with, you've got enough money, so you don't have to do things to make more money because the systems that you've got, and if you want to find out what those are, you can follow the links and go and look at the other videos and podcasts that I've done with Jason. So you're not in a position where you have to make money, but you do have time. What are the things that you enjoy doing you're spending your time on?
Yeah. Aside from, what you said earlier, you can go and do all the selfish things in the world, but you're limited to how many selfish things you can do. Like, you can go and learn paddleboarding and learn, gardening and whatever it might be, scuba diving, guitar or whatever. You can only spend a certain amount of time doing that because you'll be lacking fulfillment. You'll just want some fulfillment, so you just need.
It's nice to learn it. It's now you can do it a bit better.
Yeah, I'm all the gear, no idea, like, on everything, because I'm constantly in this position of learning new things that I'm interested in, tinkering with it, making it work, never becoming a real expert, or not what I consider an expert, and then finding something else.
We've got different measures there, because I truly think that I have some of the gear and none of the idea. I've seen you and your gear, and you do have quite an idea about some of the things.
Yeah. So I go immersive. Like, when I learn something, I immerse myself in it until I know the ins and outs of it. But I don't become like expert level. I just because there's a point where you go, well, hold on a second. That's enough.
Yeah, like now I'm off down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I know we've spoken about the fact that you've got ADHD. I don't know where I am on the spectrum. Don't care. But in that documentary I was seeing about Elon, I truly felt that this was a guy who'd got some sort of spectrum. If you look at the way he communicates with people, if you look at some of the because there's the extremeness, isn't there? There's the not eye contact, the head down type of thing, the brilliant thinking, but also then there's coming on stage with a chainsaw and potentially doing something similar to a Heil Hitler salute. So there's this lack of
there's a different
control.
There's definitely a range as well, but I think it's much more common than people realise.
Well, that was the conversations that I was having yesterday, and what can we learn from people who think differently? And I think that for me, although I'm quite sure, and again, I don't know him, so it's a lot of surmising, but that Elon is thinking about what he's doing. He's very definitely, as you say, he's got a plan. It's a long horizon and there's a set of thoughts there. But then if I bring it back to you, and you were talking about having gear and learning about it, and then reaching a point where you stop, you're getting to a point where you're going, okay, so I've learned enough about that. I don't need to be obsessed in it.
Yeah,
I've got what I need out of it. Yeah. I've done this thing. I've achieved, and that for me is this word enough again.
Yeah,
you've bought the gear. Yeah, contentment. Yes, contentment.
Yeah,
I'm content with what I have. My level of knowledge, my level of guitarship, my level of tomatoes. I'm not sure I'll ever be content with them.
Yeah, I also never want to ever stop playing around with guitar and knowing that I can get better, because then the fun's gone. You know?
Yes.
Like why? I always want to be a level behind, where I think greatness is, or at least, because I always want to be enjoying getting better at something. That's to me, it's a bit like building the Lego. You build the Lego thing, it sits on the flipping shelf gathering dust.
Yes.
It's crap once it's built. It's just building it's the fun thing, and that's the process. Even when you go fishing, it's like the actual fishing isn't really catching a fish, it's being around the lake fishing.
Yes.
And
enjoying the environment, seeing the birds.
Tinkering with rigs and looking at watercraft and stuff like that. That's really the fishing. That's the enjoyment of fishing. So I did this with money as well. I know when enough is enough. I don't want any more. I don't. And that all came from my boss, George, when he asked me what car I want. I can't remember if I told you this on the last podcast, but it was basically like, how much does the car cost that you want? And it was like 250 quid. He said, I doubt it, go and work out the MOT and all that kind of stuff. And I did that. It worked out to be a lot more. I realised I didn't actually value that car at that new monthly cost. But I also became fascinated with this idea that you could price up your life and dare to think what you want in life and put a price against it so that you definitely knew how much you needed to get your dream life. And then when I did that, I took him the list and he was like, oh, you don't really want that. You just want that because so-and-so's got it. And I was like, right. So we really bottomed this list out to a life that was truly inspired to me, by me. And I wasn't looking up to anyone else. I wasn't keeping up with the Joneses and all this. And then when I hit that and I got that life, everything on top of that was like a bonus, basically. Yeah. And you really, because you got this line in the sand, this milestone, when you hit it, you have a real sense of gratitude and contentment, and you think, well, this is my dream, what I'm living now. This is what I wanted.
Every day is perfect.
Every day is fine, so anything else is just a bonus. And the magic that I found that happens is when you get to that point and you don't have contentment in hindsight, because a lot of people, they're chasing. They have a big health scare, or they have a relationship breakdown, or they have bankruptcy, or lose money, and they think, I would have been happy with that. They look back and go, oh, I should have just stopped there. I would have been happy with that. So they're looking at trying to find contentment in hindsight. Yeah. Whereas if you have it in front of you and then you hit it, it's a completely different mindset. And then when you do hit it, you have so much gratitude. The magic that happens is you make more money because you're in this place of love, care. I don't need it. There's no scarcity. I'm not being ruled by things. I'm not chasing the wrong things. And you're very picky over your path forward, which is like now I can just pick and choose what I want to work on, what gets me up in the morning. And
there's three things there, isn't there? There's gratitude, there's scarcity, and the other one for me is about your locus of self. So what matters? Let me do it as a question to you rather than me. So what matters to you? What you think of you, or what others think of you?
That's a good question. What matters to me is how I feel in myself primarily. I would say that I've got a desire to serve people in me, to be liked. And I think that is reflected in the fact that I'm on YouTube, the fact that I'm socially, social leadership is a whole thing is because of that. But understanding that you are like that and knowing it and loving it and owning it is also a great thing, which I've done. I understand why I am like I am. But
that's key, isn't it?
Totally.
Because there are a lot of people that need to be liked.
Yeah.
Maybe don't understand why they need to be liked, and it's filling a gap. See, I remember having a conversation with a coach quite early on, because I came across this thing of I was bullied at school. I didn't have friends, and so I felt like I needed friends. I wanted friends. I wanted people to like me. And he explained to me that I was Marmite.
Yeah, right.
And that some people are going to like me and some people aren't going to like me. And the sooner I work out who doesn't like me and not care about them, then the more time I can spend caring about the people that matter to me.
Yeah.
So there are people in my life whose opinions matter. Mm-hmm. And it's not as simple as going set family members or set peers. It's much more nuanced and complex than that. But for the most, what matters to me most is, have I done what I said I would do? Have I, in a sense, you use the word serve. So I have a an alarm on my phone at 3:33 every day, and I've spoken about this before, and that alarm says to me, how have you been successful today?
Right.
And what that means is, what does success mean to me? It means that I have completed the goals that I said that I wanted to do. Some of that at the big level is that I'm living the life. Am I happy today?
Mm-hmm.
Am I living the life that I want to do? Yes. And have I done that along the way, not hurting anybody? Yes. And have I also achieved something that I set out to do? And it might be, have I watered the tomatoes, or it might be, have I mentored this person? Have I completed on that property? It doesn't really matter what that is, but it's this combination of, have I fulfilled what I set out to do today? Mm-hmm. And I start each morning with the thought of gratitude. I'm grateful for all that I've got. I'm grateful for the opportunity today to come and have another conversation with you, because I love these. We could turn the cameras off and I could, as long as you'd sit around talking to me, quite happily sit around talking to you. And I have a number of people who I love having conversations with, because it provokes me to think, not in this moment, but then I'll go away and do more thinking, and I'll come back with more questions, and that excites my brain. So, the gratitude. And then tonight I will have the gratitude of, I'm so grateful that you spent that time with me, and I'm really grateful for that insight, that nuance. I've just sharpened the vision on something today. I've learned a bit more that's helped me understand something, that locus is not driven by some pictures that I see on Facebook or Instagram. And that's the issue. We've got a society now of young people whose sense of self is being measured. I just can't imagine what it would have been like for me as a child, that
by likes and
but I've got to do the, I look at the poses, and I'm now become completely fascinated with women's lips, because there was this whole thing about getting them injected.
Yeah.
And once you've had them injected, there's sort of a
line
shape
around it. Yeah.
And they, even if the collagen stuff or whatever it is isn't there. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had some tweaks done along the way, but this, now I'm like obsessed with looking.
Yeah.
And you can see who's done it and who's not done it. And also some women's faces are starting to look the same, where, where we've lost weight, you get this bit here. But if you put a little bit of filler in here, look, this all disappears. And I periodically will do this in the mirror in the morning. I'll go, especially when you got that pillow face, and you go, what are you doing? Stop. Stop. You don't want great big cheekbones here so that you don't have a line there, because who cares? If you're going to judge me on the fact that I've got a line here versus I've got a puffy bit here, you're not listening to the words, and you're not valuing me. It's about understanding what you want out of life and not being so influenced by people who aren't there to serve you.
Yeah.
So that girl who looks good, or that boy who looks buff, or that person who looks like they've got a flashy car, or they're flashing a watch, or whatever they're doing, they don't care about you.
No.
They're actually, dare I say it, making a judgment here, somewhat insecure.
Yeah.
In that they're posting these things, which probably isn't what they look like in real life.
Definitely not.
And they're doing it because they need you to like them because they own this watch. And in the property world, the cars are rented, the houses are rented. None of it is real. Yeah. So if you start looking at everybody on Instagram or Facebook as being somewhat insecure, and we've all got insecurities, then you wouldn't be so influenced by them, and you'd be able to hear your own voice enough that you can think on your own thoughts.
I think the whole Dubai scene and all that, like I was over there recently, and I was speaking to these creators that have just moved over there. They're all sleeping on a sofa, You look at their social media, it looks like they're ballers, and what it is the Dubai residency and the Dubai government, or the whoever it is over there, the restaurants, the swanky restaurants, the hotels, the barbers, they basically give you freebies to film on your social media. And they're like, don't film it if it's empty. Only film the people in the back where it looks busy. Yeah. Look like you're having fun. Yeah. And these kids are over there, haven't got a pot to piss in. They're all trying to make ends meet, sleeping on a sofa together, and they look like they're millionaires at 30.
I know.
And it's crazy. And everyone's looking at them thinking,
I want to be like that.
I want to be like that.
But you haven't seen behind the camera. That's the issue, isn't it?
They've got no money. They've got nothing. They've just gone over there on a whim. It's just mental.
But there was a whole exodus, wasn't there? So we had all that political nonsense, I don't know, it was last year, and the whole Labour government and bashing everybody. And maybe we'll have a conversation about the money side shortly. But that idea of bashing people who are appearing successful, and then you're going to tax everybody. So everybody left, and we had this exit of how many millionaires have left this week and that sort of stuff going on. And where did they go? They all went to a country that doesn't respect women.
Yeah.
But they have a mother. They may have a sister. They'll potentially have a female partner. They may even have female children. And they're choosing to live in a country that will never respect them.
Yeah.
That doesn't respect the others around. That's
so safe, but you're so petrified to do anything in case you get stoned.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not what you're smoking either. But then also you've now got this situation with the war that's gone on where you've got missiles flying overhead.
I think with that, like the UK have shot themselves in the foot. I think the UK government, there's definitely that's a whole different podcast. But when there was trouble in Ukraine, the UK waived the whole kind of residency thing for tax. So they let everyone come back who was over there to protect Brits. But because they've got a bee in their bonnet about Dubai, because everyone left to go there, they said, no, we're not waiving that. I mean, so now we've got all these Brits that tried to get out of Dubai because they feel unsafe, and now like hopping between Guernsey and Jersey and Gibraltar and flipping Spain and all these places because they can't come back to the UK for a bit of peace. Wrongly or rightly, yeah, right. But that was the perfect opportunity for the British government to win back the UK billionaires and millionaires.
Absolutely. And with that, the tax.
Yeah, because they could have just gone, do you know what? Come back. We'll just, we'll waive it all. Don't worry about the tax thing, residency thing. You can just come back.
I'm not going to be the parent and say, see, I told you were wrong to go. I'm going to be the welcoming person.
Welcome back, yeah.
And absolutely, let's bring all that business back to the UK.
Let's get it back. How stupid.
I know.
How stupid.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll finish on that stupid bit and start again on a political conversation.
All right.
I'd love to have another conversation with you if that's okay.
Yep.
I normally come up with 3 wushes at the end, so I summarise things into 3. I can't. There are too many here. I think probably key thing is what matters to you most should be your thoughts about your life.
Yeah.
That comes from a position of gratitude and a position of self-awareness and knowing when you've got enough.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah,
that's it.
I don't have anything else to say.
Nope. Jason, thank you.
No worries. Pleasure.